Hello viewers, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I hope you all are fine. Do you know the world is currently experiencing the biggest hunger crisis in decades, affecting millions of children? And currently, 45 million people are in famine-like conditions and are on the verge of starvation, with children and women being the most severely affected. The most obvious and lethal form of malnutrition affects 26 million children under the age of 5. Today, we will discuss in our video about food crises that the world is facing these days and what are the causes and effects of food crises. What Tucker Carlson says about this shortage. But before starting a video, don't forget to like the video, share the video, and press the bell icon below to get more informative videos. So let us start the video without wasting much time. Let's start with what this food insecurity is. Food insecurity, what is it? When someone doesn't regularly have access to enough healthy food, they are considered to be food insecure. When food is either unavailable or unaffordable, it results from food insecurity. A person with severe food insecurity may occasionally go days without eating. What distinguishes food insecurity from famine? Famine arises when there is a severe lack of food and no action is done. Famine, or total absence of access to food, is the most severe form of food insecurity. According to the World Food Program, in a famine, more than 30% of the local population is malnourished, and people start to perish from starvation. According to Tucker Carlson, food shortages are a historic occurrence. They overturn social structures and overthrow empires. Different guests talked about food crises on Tucker Carlson's show, so let us discuss one by one what are the main reasons behind this world food shortage. Food shortage is a result of warfare. Globally, conflict is the main cause of hunger, accounting for 65% of those who are food insecure or hungry today. Families, communities, infrastructure, food systems, and entire areas are torn apart by conflicts. Up to 811 million people worldwide experience nighttime hunger, and in only 2 years, the number of individuals who experience severe food insecurity has doubled from 135 million to 276 million. Warfare is the most frequent human cause of hunger. Warfare interrupts the delivery of food in addition to destroying crops and food sources by strategically employing siege and blockade tactics, as well as by accidentally destroying transportation networks and vehicles. The rising cost of living. Food is all of a sudden price rise. According to the United Nations, trips to the grocery store and gas station can cost up to 1/3 and 2/3 more, respectively. The war between Russia and Ukraine is worsening this inflation, making it even more difficult to find food at a fair price. With families in emerging economies spending up to 60% of their income on food in Haiti and up to 40% in sub-Saharan Africa, the rising cost of living might put families with young children in danger. According to David Malpass, president of the World Bank Group, food price increases are having disastrous impacts on the poorest and most vulnerable countries. Poverty. Hunger and poverty are mutually incompatible. Families who are caught in a cycle of poverty frequently cannot afford nourishing food, which causes undernourishment. In consequence, malnutrition makes it challenging for people to make more money so they can afford wholesome foods. To support their income, families in poverty may also sell their tools or cattle. This provides temporary comfort, but it also feeds a longer-term cycle of poverty and hunger that is frequently passed down from parents to their offspring. Weather extremes and drought. Global hunger is rising as a result of extreme weather events like hurricanes and droughts that reduce harvest and drive up food prices. The primary industry in many of the world's poorest nations is agriculture, and people there consume seasonally according to what they gather. As a result, there is frequently no food when there is no harvest. Food insecurity is thought to be mostly caused by climate change. Food production is more impacted by changes in temperature, precipitation, water availability, and population numbers. Heavy rains throughout the harvesting season have significantly decreased wheat yield in recent years. Ukraine war. Global food costs have increased dramatically as a result of the situation in Ukraine. Ukraine or Russia supply a third of the world's wheat. In addition, Ukraine exports fertilizers, barley, maize, and sunflower oil to other countries. However, continued hostilities prevent the preparation of fields, the planting of crops, and the availability of fertilizers. As a result, food prices are increased and it becomes difficult for poor countries to make their end meet. The United Nations World Food Program's head economist, Arif Hussein, claimed that the war has placed a lot of fuel on an already smoldering fire. Pandemic. Global poverty and inequality increased dramatically as a result of COVID-19, and lockdowns severely damaged family livelihoods. In many nations, pandemic restrictions also resulted in food supply disruption, a reduction in family remittances, and the suspension of school meal programs. Budgets for households are being severely strained by sharp increases in food prices, with the poorest people being hardest hurt. The UN estimates that 928 million people were facing food shortage in the year 2020, and this limit increased 248 million after the pandemic. Many other causes affect the economy of the world. Now let us discuss the impacts of food shortage on women and children, so keep watching the video. According to Tucker Carlson, food shortages topple governments, they turn moderates into revolutionaries. A food shortage is a big deal. You don't want one. Tucker Carlson discussed the impact of food crises and how this problem can be solved in his show. Let's discuss them. Impact of food shortage. Girls, boys, women, and men are all affected differently by hunger. Due to the accelerated rate of their growth and physical change, adolescents and young children under the age of 5 are more prone to malnutrition. During these formative years, hunger can hinder growth and negatively affect brain development, which can have a substantial impact on a child's academic success, physical health, and future earning capacity. Do you know, viewers, teenage girls, pregnant women, and nursing mothers are at an especially high risk of miscarriage and stillbirth when they are hungry? It can raise the risk of stillbirth or newborn mortality, low birth weight, and stunting in their offspring, creating a cycle of malnutrition that extends across generations. How the problem of food shortage can be solved. Minimizing food waste. The main causes of food waste include ineffective preparation, rough or dangerous routes, excessively picky consumers, and inadequate storage facilities. There will be less food wasted and a more food-secure community if storage facilities are upgraded and proper plans are made for how the food will be used. Improve currently running infrastructure programs. Because of inadequate roads, storage facilities, and food processing equipment, some farmers are unable to get their products to market. Instead of being delivered to those in need or processed, it ends up going rotten on the farms. More food will be available on the market, and the levels of food insecurity may decrease if the infrastructure is strengthened. Planting trees. Planting trees can help to ease the food shortage. There are more than 2 billion hectares of neglected farmland that was formerly covered in trees available in the world. In this place, trees can flourish once more. The food shortage issue can be resolved if we replant these areas with food-producing trees. Cooking would be difficult without olives and olive oil. Additionally, we can obtain from trees coffee, chocolate, coconut, and an enormous variety of nuts that are added to and employed in a wide range of cuisines. The word tree has become crucial to the modern food industry, and trees that produce food are frequently among the fastest growing plants. Adopt better trade policies. Due to unjust trade regulations, some farmers are unable to feed the local population. Food has already been commercialized by powerful corporations, making it more difficult for small-scale farmers to sell their goods. Therefore, governments ought to enhance the policies and ensure that participation is equitable for all. Encourage diversity. Concentrating on a single food crop or staple can have disastrous effects on the decrease of food insecurity. As a result, education about the value of varied and nutritious diets for better nutrition is required to promote food security. Working to stop climate change. Our way of life and food production are both being negatively impacted by climate change. We can guarantee there will be enough food for both current generations and future ones if we combat climate change and practice sustainable farming. It is another step in the fight against food insecurity. Minimize the yield gap. Do you know that the majority of our agricultural areas have lost most of their original fertility and are no longer as productive as they once were? To overcome this problem, governments and agricultural institutions in charge have developed strategies and programs to increase crop yields to close the gap. However, location-specific sustainable agricultural intensification techniques like soil management and land improvement and conversion should be avoided because they encroach on natural habitats and forests and have negative effects on other species. What is the condition in the countries where hunger is the worst? Now let's take a bird's view of the different countries of a world facing food crises. You should consider yourself lucky if you have food to eat, because a report says that almost 4.1 million people in Kenya are in critical need of aid due to their severe food insecurity. Most households in Kenya have run out of food and are dealing with drastically rising food prices. Do you know, viewers, the most obvious and lethal form of malnutrition, wasting, affects 1.6 million children under the age of 5 in Niger? and high levels of food insecurity are affecting an increasing number of people in Niger as a result of internal migration, armed conflict, rising food prices, and unpredictable weather. Always be thankful to your Lord for his blessings, because there are so many people who go to their beds without food. Over a third of the population, or 7.5 million people, are in an extremely vulnerable situation in Mali, which is experiencing the worst humanitarian catastrophe in more than a decade. Emergency levels of acute malnutrition have already been achieved. Do you know at least 4.4 million individuals require access to clean water in just the Somali, Oromia, and SNMP regions of Ethiopia? At least 2.1 million animals that provided children with their primary source of sustenance through milk have died. A food crisis is affecting South Sudan, where at least 7.2 million people, or 60% of the population, are facing malnutrition if quick aid is not provided. More than 2 million people could face starvation, and 1.4 million children are already facing severe food crises in this area. Okay, viewers, it was all about today. I hope you find this video informative. Tell us in the comments section below what you have learned from today's video, and how you think we can get rid of this problem. If you find this video interesting, like and share the video, and to get a more informative video, press the bell icon below. We will be back soon with another video. Take care.